Good morning, Claremont Center for Spiritual Living. How are you this morning? Happy Easter. Thanks for braving the rain to get out here. And hello to all our friends online who are tucked safe and sound and dry and warm in their homes. No, we are happy to have you because we know that this community is not bound by walls or space or even heaters and air conditioners. We are simply here to love and support each other, and we do that very, very well. So I'm glad you're here. I'm Reverend Tracy. If I don't know you, please know that wherever you are on your spiritual path, you're welcome here with us. And we have a holiday celebration and conversation going on today. Our practitioner on platform is actually one of our ministers, our staff minister, Reverend Drac Durella. Drac will do an opening prayer for us and a reading. And we, of course, have some great music. We welcome back the Jacksons this week. Ready to rock out. I see that drum, and it's like, okay, let's go. And on keyboards, we have Jeff Harrison, our music director. And, the rest of it is just talk, so we'll get to that in a minute. Let's take a moment first and get ourselves centered, shall we? We're going to take a deep breath, and if you haven't already, please silence your phones and maybe clear your laps and clear your minds. Oh, and listen to the sound of the bowl. And as you breathe, let that tone open up the heart space within you. For there is that place within that knows only peace, only love, and only oneness.
So we ground ourselves into this heart space that exists within each and every one of us. For there is a force of life and energy, an all-knowing, pervasive spiritual essence that exists within each and every one of us. Obi-Wan Kenobi called it the Force. And he taught that force resides within all of us. And when we tap into that force, it carries a strand of pervasive knowing and wisdom and healing that all of us can access at any time. So we all, in this understanding that we all carry this magnificent seed of the great I Am within, we all know that together in this room today that we have come together at this one time and in this one place to access this force within each and every one of us, to celebrate it, to get to know it more deeply, to understand it more, to allow it to guide us into that place which is greater within each one of us, to a place that is greater for who we are. And so it is. So, I don't know if any of you guys have heard about triple digits in numbers and things like that, if you keep seeing them. It sounds kind of funny, but I just kept seeing 333 over and over, and I finally said, that's kind of strange, and I've heard about funny little number things that are supposed to be spiritually significant, so I looked it up. And in the course of looking it up, and there are several pages on it, which I'm not going to read you, but in the course of reading about it, I began to think about what we're going to talk about today, what Reverend Tracy is going to talk about, at least a sense of what that might be. And I felt compelled just to read a little bit of what I found. So this is part of what I found. You understand that the adventurous road of finding your truth is both a journey into yourself that grows naturally with your journey into the world. When you search for the meaning of who you are and your place in this world, you remember that you are a soul. A celestial being that emerged from the divine creator, clothed in human layers. I love that. You realize that you have the natural desire to know everything because your curiosity for knowledge originates from your desire to be like your provider, with a capital P, the all-knowing creator. Your path of discovery symbolizes the divine's guiding essence as you are going through a revolution within yourself that strengthens you. You are allowing the divine spirit to grow within you by practicing love for all living things, by living an honest life, by being kind, and by helping others in the best way that you can. As you follow the divine to expand more within you, you discover that you are naturally pushing out your ego, the false self. When you realize there is no room for the ego or false self to live within you, you begin to live a life with a higher spiritual consciousness. This means you become more aware of who you truly are, and simply put, you will think, act, and become more like Krishna, Buddha, or the Christ in your human form. With this awareness, you realize that knowledge is found within you because it lives in you. It represents your true self, and it is the existence of the Creator within you. In the end, learning about your true self will move you forward, and ultimately, it is the way to knowing your Creator and the path that prepares and leads you to the next stage in your life progression. All in all, this means that you are being divinely supported on your journey back to the Creator. The more you know your Creator, the more you will think like the Creator, and eventually you will finally understand what it truly means to be one with the Creator. Being one with the Creator is knowing thyself. Yeah.
Perfect. Good morning and happy Easter. This first song that we have brought to share with you this morning is a song that we wrote about a year ago. And upon just looking through some of our songs, this song just seemed to fit for today. So this one is called I See the Light. I see the light in the sky and the light in your eyes. Hear the beat of my heart, feel the warmth that's inside. As I emerge from my sleep with reflections and rest, I know I am living my best. I am surrounded by love, I'm supported because I can see all the power and the good that it does. As I wake every day, I give thanks and I pray, and I know that our love is within. I see the flowers as I walk out the door, sunshine smiling, and I just want more. Reflecting the colors through the trees, I see the bright green jewelry of a newborn seed. I see the light in the sky and the light in your eyes. Hear the beat of my heart, feel the warmth that's inside. As I emerge from my sleep with reflections and rest, I know that I am living my best. Yeah, I know that I'm living my best. Thank you.
How fun. How very fun. All right, so we're going to start by lighting our candle today. And we're lighting it today in honor of March 31st as Transgender Day. So this actually started back in 2009 and is it's a day of visibility. It's an international event dedicated to recognizing the resilience and accomplishments of the transgender community. On this day, we celebrate the trans people amongst us, raise awareness about the struggles that they face, and advocate for more protected rights for them in a bid to reform society and empower this community. Dr. Edward Villian was the spiritual leader, past spiritual leader of Centers for Spiritual Living, and he wrote, "Our teaching of oneness and wholeness creates the moral compass and a welcoming environment that affirms transgender people and all people as exquisitely individualized expressions of divinity and celebrates their contributions to society." Rabbi Howard Kushner wrote this prayer: "Let us burn away the fog so that we can see each other clearly, so that we can see beyond labels, beyond accents, gender, or skin color. Let the warmth and brightness of the sun melt our selfishness, so that we can share the joys and feel the sorrows of our neighbors. Let the earth nourished by rain, and let the light of the sun be so strong that we will see all people as our neighbors. Let the earth nourished by rain bring forth flowers to surround us with beauty, and let the mountains teach our hearts to reach upward to heaven and inward to heaven. Amen." All right. So I begin with a quote from Eric Butterworth about Easter. And he says, "Metaphysically, Easter is the awakening and arising to spiritual consciousness and the Christ or the oneness within us. When we are born again metaphysically, we see a new spiritual dimension." And so today we'll speak metaphysically of this story of Easter, this biblical retelling of the life of Jesus, and understanding the story in a broader context. This is one of the major holidays of Christianity. We have many of our roots in science of mind in Christianity. And so it is right that we look at this story that has shaped our culture, shaped all of us, knowingly or unknowingly, and understand it from a spiritual perspective, in a different way maybe for some of us. So personal story, I was very interested in Judaism when I was in college. I had friends that were Jewish, conservative Jews, which meant that they kept kosher, they kept the holidays, they didn't work on Yom Kippur. There were all these very obvious ways of being in the world as a Jewish person. And what appealed to me about the faith was that it was a way of living spiritually. So all the rules, all the prayers, all the things you were supposed to do or not supposed to do were all about keeping an awareness that life is spiritual, and so am I. And so that really drew me in. Well, needless to say, when I was practicing Judaism, Easter was not my favorite holiday because, there's just all kinds of connotations, And it took me a while to understand that the word Christ was not Jesus' last name, was not just a rule about how you were supposed to behave in the world or else. I didn't have a lot of religious upbringing, but what I had was fairly traditional. And so it took me a while to understand it differently, and this is what I offer you. The Christ is not just one radical guy who roamed the Holy Land a couple thousand years ago. It's not the last name of a Galilean woodworker. The Christ is the anointment of wholeness. It is a principle, as Ernest Holmes says. Jesus tapped into a vibration of energetic love, and it animated his heart, and that same experience is open to all of us. It's not a stodgy dogma not a formula for saving yourself from eternal damnation. Christ is a sweet field of energetic love, a gateway through which we can approach the higher expression of ourselves. Ernest Holmes tells us this: the Christ mind or Christ consciousness does not refer merely to a personality who lived 2,000 years ago. It also refers to the innermost principle of our own being. It refers to the divine presence centered in us. We've been told to put off the old man and put on the new man, which is Christ. The new man is that innermost self. Pure spirit exists at the very center of our being, at the innermost part of our mind. It is our true and eternal self, capital S. Such life as we have flows from it, and there is nothing to our real being other than life and what it does through us. So my title today is The Divine in Me. And this Easter Sunday, we're retelling the story of the death and resurrection of Jesus and how it is more than history and how it is more than simply a fundamental Christian teaching. It is actually a map for living, which is what all spiritual stories intend to do. So Easter really isn't about the crucifixion, it's about the resurrection. It's all about the incredible strength and beauty that shows up as we overcome the challenge of life. And Jesus was the demonstration that when we remember who we truly are, when we overcome our own sense of smallness and separation, when we stop crucifying ourselves and others, we too can work wonders. We too can spread healing and light in the world. Cylvia Hayes says, "Your resilience is your brilliance, and Easter is every moment you choose to step into the truth of you." And that truth is that we are not only human, we are also divine. That our humanity is encompassed by the spiritual nature of life, and we are life. The Greek philosopher Plotinus stated that I am trying to make what is most divine in me rise up to what is divine in the universe. And I love that. It's a very clear picture. It's like I have this awareness in me of something greater than I am, something beyond the tittle-tattle of every single day and everybody jabbering and inside my own mind, talking to myself all the time. Beyond all that, there is always peace and beauty and joy and wisdom and clarity and purpose. And that when I can clear the stuff out of the way that's in between me and that sense of purpose and power, then I am in fact rising up to the truth of the divine in the universe. I am seeing the overarching picture of life as that beautiful tapestry, interconnected, fully supportive, all-encompassing. I'm not separate. I'm not alone. I'm not struggling when I know that I have divinity within me, for that is the power of life. Ernest Holmes always calls Jesus the way shower, like the elder brother, the older one in the family that shows the younger ones how to get away with stuff and how to navigate the world, maybe how to drive or, other useful things. I was the oldest, so I have no idea what someone would have taught me. I know what I taught my brothers, so. But he was the example, the great example. And he did rise up above it all. He did see the world from a different perspective. He did move about in the world from that place of love that he knew to be his truth. He rose not just from the tomb after his death, but from the confinement of the human experience. When we have those spiritual moments, we can feel the human part of us sort of give way to something greater, to allow in or allow through something larger, something more expansive, something transformative. After 2,000 years, Jesus is still looked to as the great example for what's possible in life. Not the perfect ideal I was taught in Vacation Bible School, that I should be just like Jesus, and who can do that? Not some 7-year-old, let me tell you. So after I went to many years of therapy to get over my perfectionist tendencies, I realized that love works better than anger, and I can be my best self, and my best self is always rising. Because I choose to focus on that love within, on that power of divinity that I know I have. And when I forget, I have people who will remind me of that greater truth. And that's what we do for each other. We all have someone who sees something in us that we maybe didn't see for ourselves. We all have someone who reminds us that we are more than our worst moment, or that lousy marriage, or that awful job we stayed in way too long. We're more than that. Jesus exemplified the divine heritage that we all share, and the message is one of wholeness and love and empowerment. We are not helpless in the world, no matter what it feels like sometimes. That's not the greater truth. The thing is, if we just look at the story as historical, as history, as his story, we miss the point. We miss the point. Because this is a story of all of us. This is the story of you and of me, and a time of year when we can take a moment and look at ourselves and contemplate that divinity within. What does that feel like to you? How does that show up for you? For me, it's instead of reacting emotionally to something that triggers me, that makes me mad or scares me, it's being able to pause, realize what's happened, and choose to respond differently. That's tapping into the divinity within me. That's reminding myself that I'm more than just my emotional reaction. You know, the 3-year-old that lives inside of me would love to throw a tantrum now and again, especially when people are being stupid. But when I can see that happening and know that that's not my true self, I can respond in love. Either love for myself and take myself out of a bad situation, or love or compassion for the other, that I might have a real dialogue with them. At any rate, I will be out of judgment, out of fear, a step back from anger, so that I can show up in the world the way that I am moved to show up from within, from the heart. Resurrection, to re-rise, to rise again. You know, that implies that we've been there before in that divine place. If we're rising up to some place we've already been, it's where we come from. We come from, as Drac was reading, the infinite creator. We live in this finite world, and yet we come from so much more than that. So to resurrect ourselves, to resurrect our sense of beingness in the world, is to return again to that greater that we already know and we are always moving back towards. Thing is, there can't be any resurrection without death. Disease dies when it gives way to health, and poverty dies when it gives way to abundance, and unhappiness passes into oblivion when a new birth is triggered of joy and happiness. Something leaves so that something new can take its place. We are not really good at letting go of stuff. I don't know if you've noticed that about yourself or not. Anybody have full closet shelves full of mystery items? Of course not. I have all my junk out where I can see it. Right. So when we consciously choose to let the finite give way or make room for something new, we're really telling the universe we're open and available to all the good that life offers. Because our innate tendency is to realize that there is good and then share it. It's just what we do for each other. You're cold, I have a blanket, I'm going to let you use it. You know? You need a couple bucks for gas, I have a couple bucks, we'll share it. That is just how we're wired, because we are part of this one life, this consciousness, the Christ consciousness that says we are all one and all connected. Some part of us always knows that. A lot of times we don't want to let go of things because we've been wounded. We see what we have or who we're with or where we live as our security, as our one and only safe place or safe person. And yet, Jean Houston tells us that our wounding, because we are wounded by toxic relationships, even when we think they're what keep us safe, and we are wounded when we stay in a house that we really can't afford and forget that maybe it's possible we could find someplace else that would serve us better. She says that our wounding tells us that the old forms are ready to die, however reluctant the local self, the ego self, may be to allow this to occur. We tend to resist. But the wounding becomes sacred when we are willing to release our old stories and to become vehicles which a new story may emerge into time. Most of what spiritual work is not so much finding something else, it's uncovering what's in the way of what's already within us. And when we are willing to allow something new to happen, or when we are willing to try something new to see how we feel, to see how it might fit, to see if it serves us, we open ourselves to greater possibilities. We break out of the tomb that is a confined space. And instead we tap into that infinite energy, that infinite possibility, that field of all things that might happen. And lo and behold, most of them are good. Our ego would tell us that that big open field is scary. But truly, when we're moving from the heart, and we are moving and living in love, when we are seeking what our heart desires, then we are always in that realm, in that sense of belonging to something greater, and we are safe. Here's the bottom line of the Easter story. You're divine. You are divine. No matter what you've thought of yourself, no matter what you've done in your life, no matter what opinions you have of yourself or what others have of you, no matter how you've crucified yourself, you are divine. The excellence of you is eternal and ageless and deathless. It's the part of you that's perfect even when you are having imperfect experiences. It's the part of you that knows just what to do even when you're facing confusion and fear. It's the part of you that can never be alone, never be harmed, violated, or endangered in any way. It is the God self in you. It is that divinity within. So the symbolism of the Easter story applies to all of us. It's a story of overcoming, right? You can look back in your life and you know that you have overcome many different obstacles or terrors or seemingly impossible situations. You have overcome them. You know in your life that you have risen above what you ever imagined for yourself. Like maybe your dreams did not come out exactly as you planned, or maybe somewhere you took a real left turn that you didn't mean to take. But you know now that that's negotiable. That can be changed again. You know, looking back, that you have become and come into your own power in a way that you could not imagine how that felt when this life first started. Yes? This is where you go like this. Okay, good. Don't want to lose you at the end. The thing is that we participate in our own resurrection and transformation every time we realize that the world is not where our power lies. When we can cease giving the world our power and instead understand that the ultimate power is within and that it is infinite, it is boundless, there are no boundaries in our essential nature, then we are celebrating Easter in our own lives. Then we are rising above whatever seems to imprison us. Then we are becoming the light that is already in us, and we've cleared a path for it to shine. And that's the gift we give to the world, showing people that it is possible for your light to shine wherever you are in any situation. And if you are not shining brightly in any given moment, there are plenty of people who are and who see you, who know your truth. So while the story is about the elder brother, Jesus, showing the way, demonstrating what it looks like to live a spiritual life, demonstrating and telling us that the power he has is something that we all have, we have to remember, as the Tao reminds us, to look beyond the person. If we don't look beyond the person, the teacher, the prophet, the guru, we miss the entirety, we miss the message. A good master leads you always to the master within. Blessings. So let's take a moment. I invite you once again to close your eyes and take that deep breath. Feel yourself in your chair, wherever you are. And let your mind open, let your heart open to sense the love in this room. If you are at home, to sense the love that surrounds you always, the love of this community that reaches you wherever you are. And then bringing your attention back into your heart space, realize that the love you seek is right here within you, as steady as your heartbeat. Breathing into that place of love within. I acknowledge and give thanks for all the gifts given, as people, as places, as things, as experiences, those I've had and loved, those I've had and resisted, those which I could not see the benefit of. I am grateful for everything and everyone in life up until now has fed into that pool of love that is the heart space of each of us. And it is from this place that we choose to live, knowing that when we are low, there is a higher view, knowing that when we feel depleted, we are not alone, knowing that the light and the love of the resurrection is a transformation from within that is ours. And knowing these words to be true, I release them into the consciousness of this one mind, knowing that the power of the Christ is that anointedness of wholeness, and that I am whole, perfect, and complete. That each of us here has a perfection that cannot be denied. And so each life moves forward as a blessing and being blessed, unfolding perfectly, unfolding in and as love. And it is good and very good, for it is all God. And so it is. All right. So our affirmation is in the program. I invite you to use this all week long. Take this home with you. And I will say a sentence and ask you to repeat after me so that our friends online can participate as well. Today, I see the truth of my own divine nature. I rise anew. And so it is. All right, let's welcome the Jacksons back for a little more music, please.
Well, good morning. It's so good to be here. I was really looking forward to coming this morning. It helps me to find myself, and the music also helps me find myself. This is a song about changes in my own life. It's called I Used to Get Up Every Morning. I still get up every morning.
That's good.
But when I was writing this, I wrote this week. And it was just about the changes that have helped me make my life more. I feel better about life these days. It's not so hard. I mean, certainly there's challenges, but I don't use the same tools to face the challenges that I used to. And anyway, hopefully that'll come through with this song. I used to get up every morning when the sun came up, pour a little coffee in my coffee cup, worry about the things that I might face today, say a little prayer and I'd be on my way. But now I've found that there is so much more than seeing life the way I did before. I can be all that I want to be. Our world's so full of possibilities. Something's changing, I don't worry no more. Seems like trouble passes by my door. I feel awake, alive, and so inspired. Guess you could say I've fallen in love with life. Now every day the Spirit lifts me higher. When I look up, seems I can touch the sky. I've spread my wings and I've learned to fly. Now I can laugh and watch those clouds roll by. Get up every morning when the sun came up, pour myself some coffee in my coffee cup, worry about the things that I might face today, say a little prayer and I'd be on my way. But now I've found that there's so much more than seeing life the way I did before. I can be all that I want to be.
Our world's so full of possibilities.
Perfect as always. Right on message. Thank you both so much. It's so delightful to have you here. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. So, a couple things going on. First of all, thank you, Chris, for our beautiful flowers today. So, what do you think? It's coming along, yes? Now, we don't want this to be empty, so you too can sign up in the back of the room to sponsor the flowers for a Sunday. You put your name on the list. Andy will call you, see what colors you want. Do you want to dedicate them to someone or something? We'll share them on Sunday, and then you can take them home with you when you're done. So they're gorgeous. So happy Easter. Let's see. We have this coming Saturday in this room, the drum circle is back, first Saturday of the month at 3 o'clock, I believe.
And I think there's a meditative portion that starts at 2.
At 2. All right, we'll let Andy know so I don't say it wrong every week because I will. 2 o'clock. No worries. Anyway, if you haven't been, it's a lot of fun. You don't even have to have your own drums, just come. And you don't even have to have a certain amount of rhythm because the group will overpower you one way or the other. So you'll be fine. Okay. Tuesdays, we continue with line dancing. Wednesday at 7, we have belly dancing. Earlier on Wednesday at 5:30, we have Gateway here Wednesday night, which is always a conversation about some relevant spiritual principle disguised as maybe current events, or maybe it's a reading, or maybe it's a topic in the news, but it's a way for us to understand how to apply principle to our own lives. So Wednesday night at 5:30, we have a meditation before that at 5 o'clock, which you can join online or in person in the practitioner room on Wednesdays. All that, and you'll still be done in time for belly dancing. Yes. Yes, see? I hear you laughing. All right, let's see. We have just a reminder that we're still collecting donations for our 2 shelters that we support, Inland Valley Hope Partners and Foothill Family Shelter. Non-perishable food, if you have clothing or shoes or small housewares or anything else you'd like to donate, I know Foothill Family Shelter would welcome those as well. So you can bring those here and we'll take them out over to the centers each time. There are a couple flyers on the back table for Circle of Chairs. This is a way of being in a broader community, and this particular Circle of Chairs is an interracial dialogue on race. It was hosted originally by the Baha'is, the Baha'i faith, and they have been having events a couple times a year. This one is April 20th in the afternoon at Pitzer College, so it's very local. And if you've never done this type of dialogue, it is a very powerful way of understanding for each person where the obstacles or biases might be within, and then what it might take to promote healing, whether in a small community, in a larger community, in society in general. This particular circle is about interracial understanding, and it's fabulous. It's just fabulous. If you'd like to get a whole different perspective on life, you do one of these. So anyway, there are flyers in the back, and if you're interested, have you been to one already, Direct? No.
We've done one here.
Oh, right, we hosted one with the Baha'is. Yeah. So there's a couple people that have already done them. If you have questions, I know Drac and Reverend Mary, she's not here this Sunday, but she will be back next week. They can offer more specific information. But I encourage all of us to participate. Let's see. I think that's all I have. Do we have? Oh, yeah, we should probably do that. Mickey's holding up her check. We do accept donations here in this community. We don't even call them donations. It's really contributing because we all support Claremont Center for Spiritual Living. So I want to thank you in advance for the support you always give in all its many forms. We have a basket in the back for financial donations. If you're online, we have a donate button on our website or also in our emails. And we welcome any and all consciousness donations as well. You know, it's really important that when you think about our center, you think about it in terms of abundance, in terms of joy, in terms of commitment. In other words, we want to exude what it is we would like to see in the world. So know that we are abundant because we are, and know that you make that possible, for which all of us are grateful. So say with me, please, our prosperity affirmation. It's in your program. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now, and that's true. All right, my friends, I think we've got it all. All right, let's stand up, move to the sides of the room, and sing with Eddie.
Take a look at the person next to you and say, God loves you and I love you too. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together, 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 we come together. In the name of love, from every walk of life, every walk of life, every creed and color, every creed and color. Intention we unite, in honor of the God in each other. We come together, we come together.